Hi Bio4 and welcome to part 6 of cardiac, the heart. And it's going to be a short video. It's on the coronary circulation. And I just want you to have an idea of where those arteries are. So the vessels that supply the actual muscle of the heart, right, are the coronary arteries. So there's the right coronary, left coronary, and then the cardiac veins. So I wanted to show you, but it's not something that I'm going to show you a picture later and you have to identify. It's just to get a general idea of it. So look at here is left coronary artery, right? So if it's coming from the aortic arch, it's distributing oxygenated blood to all of this muscle. And right coronary artery here. And accompanying that are the veins. So this is the great cardiac vein. And they're going to be then, here in the back, it's an easier way to see it, the coronary sinus. It's going to dump into the right atrium. So just this network of vessels that are going to supply oxygenated blood and then pick up that deoxygenated blood and recycle it back into the regular general circulation again. So coronary arteries we hear a lot about because they could get clogged, right? And so let me show you this huge network. If we made a cast of those coronary vessels, so it's a huge network of vessels that are irrigating this muscle. Now let me backtrack a little bit and show you on this one what would happen if you had something like the left coronary artery here that is branching and, for example, has a constriction. That's the first picture I showed you at the beginning of this lecture, part 1. Where there was a narrowing of one of these arteries. And so let's say there's a narrowing, let's say there's some atherosclerosis going on there and blood is not really reaching the rest of the heart. That is a heart attack ready to happen, right? Because you're clogging one of these very crucial vessels that irrigate the muscle itself. So what gets done? So when you have a bypass surgery, what you're trying to do is exactly bypass that block. So let's draw it with a black pen here. And let's say I had a block right here. Okay, and nothing is getting past there. What's going to happen is that anything downstream here, all this that's downstream is not going to be receiving oxygen. And you could have a region like this of the heart that has cells that die. And maybe this other branch can irrigate some of that. But that would be a heart attack with some cell death. So let's kill off some of these cells here. Now, in a bypass, if you ahead of time know that this is happening, you could potentially make a bridge, right? So you could take a vessel from another part of the body. It's often the greater saphenous. So they remove a vein from your leg and then make a little hole here in the aorta and sew it on. So I'm going to sew that on, okay? And here I have it coming all the way to beyond the block, right? And I would sew it on there. So now blood that was exiting the aorta would now instead some of it would come down my little tubing that I put in here and continue to irrigate these cells. So that's a bypass surgery. If you hear of someone that had a double or a triple, what happens is they do more of them. So you have another one here, right, that's coming to a different region over here, or another one that's here that's coming yet to another spot, whatever it is. So that's what a bypass surgery is. Really, it almost sounds primitive, right? That you could get a little hose and say, okay, if you're blocked, I'm just going to make it flow in a different direction. Okay, and there was the cast then of all those vessels. And this is a real picture of that, of a bypass where they've sewn it on here and brought it over to a region that was blocked. Here's a second grafted left internal thoracic artery. That's another artery other than the saphenous that's used. And they've sewed it onto there. So sometimes in our cadavers, we will see one of those on the heart. It's very interesting. There is a series of heart bypass surgery videos that I've posted for you. They're out of a hospital in LA, and they actually allow you to watch, and it's really super fascinating if you can stand the sight of blood. So it's very interesting, and I recommend you watch those. And that is the end of this video. The last thing that I have here, if it's the flow of the heart one more time, and see if you can do it. Let's do it together. Superior vena cava. Here it's coming into the right atrium. After the right atrium, it's going through a valve. That valve is the tricuspid. From the tricuspid, it comes to the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, it's going to go past a semilunar valve. And it's the pulmonary semilunar valve. Past the pulmonary semilunar valve into the pulmonary trunk and off to the lung. Coming back, we come through the pulmonary veins into the left atrium, past the bicuspid or mitral, into the left ventricle, and then hiding down in there would be another semilunar valve, aortic semilunar, and out the aorta. And that's all, folks. Thanks for listening. Bye.